We got to talk about it. Got some Lions rumors and news for you folks today. Injuries on the practice field. If it's a significant injury to a certain player, will the Lions look to potentially add somebody in free agency? Let's get this thing going right now. If you're new to the channel, you want to subscribe to the channel. We talk Lions 24/7 on here. All you got to do is hit that subscribe button. Let's get into practice really quick. We'll get into what occurred with an injury and potentially what the Lions could do. Before we get into the big part, though, just absent from injury was Christian Mahogany. He has been dealing with an illness. When it comes to Dan Campbell, wants him to get back on the field. It's this illness, he's going to be back. It's going to be day to day, but him missing these practices is definitely hurting his development. And Christian Mahogany, as you know, we drafted him in this last year's draft. I thought he should have been in the third round. We got him in the later round and expect him to be a big part of this offensive line for sure next year, but definitely being a backup depth piece this year for this team. So that's why it's really important for him to get back onto the practice field. And right now, that's just not taking place. So we need him to get back out there. He needs all the reps he can get. Hopefully it's soon. DJ Reader, again, did not practice. He's still trying to get back into shape from the surgery that he had for the Bengals. He is healed, but it's going to be a slow process. Not worried about that. Running back Zonovan Jones didn't practice. It's an unknown. And Jalen Calhoun didn't practice as well. But we definitely got to get into an injury front and what occurred on the practice field. But before we do that, I got a question for you. Will the Detroit Lions make the Super Bowl? Why, if you believe they will, and if you do not believe they make the Super Bowl this year. Two injuries that occurred at practice today. Matane Nudi, he did get injured. He had dealt with a shoulder injury in practice, and as you know, yesterday he was doing good. He's been one of the players on the offensive line that's getting up there and was showing some of his stuff, even though we didn't expect him to make this team. So we don't know the severity of the injury. From what I'm hearing, I don't think it's a big deal, but that is some we got to monitor. Let's get into the biggest injury front, though. John Cominsky got rolled up. He tried to stand back up. He could not put his own weight on it, screaming in pain due to his knee. He eventually was carted off the field. That's the Detroit Lions rotational piece, John Cominsky. Now, look, John Cominsky was already at the end of the 53-man roster. He has been repping basically with the third team the whole time. So from a big picture, his injury, if it were to be a significant one, being an IR or done for the year, it's not as big as if it was a player whom we are to rely on. So we're just going to keep that in mind. But given the circumstances that he could not even put any sort of weight on it, it definitely gives you the vibe that this could be a situation where he could be out for a period of time. That's just a rumor right now. We don't know if it's true. We don't know if it's false. All we know is he got carted off, significant leg injury. So what would happen if he cannot come back? Well, again, like we stated, he was at the lower depth chart. It's going to give more opportunity to the players like Mitchell Agude, who I've been talking about for the past couple of months, opportunities to make that. A Matthew Betts, potentially to make that. But they also could go outside of the Lions organization. They could look to free agency or in a trade to get that done. Before we talk about the players, potentially they could look up. I want to talk to you about saving some money when it comes to getting sporting events, tickets, or like you want to go see Ford Field, you want to go see the Detroit Lions, and preseason's right here, the regular season's coming up. The best way to do it is going to GameTime. Why is that? Because they got killer deals, the best last-minute tickets for the lowest prices guaranteed. It's saving that money. All you got to do is go to GameTime, download the app, and you can get started. It's easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, whether it's sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, or whatever. Their lowest price is guaranteed. That's the GameTime guaranteed, which means you're always getting the best prices. And if you find tickets in the same area section or less, GameTime is going to credit you 110% of the difference. You can get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, baseball, basketball, concerts, and more. Middle screenshot, by the way, I think it's a fantastic feature of the app. It shows you where your seat is, and if you move your phone left to right, you can see this around an area like a 3D live photo. Again, you download the app, GameTime app, you put in Chat Sports to get $20 off your first purchase. You go to the redeem code section, plug in Chat Sports, you get $20 off your first purchase. Terms would apply. You got to create an account, got to have an email to save that money. The information is going to be in the link and description of this video. So if you're buying Detroit Lions tickets this year, do it like I say. You go to GameTime. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. So what do we do for the Detroit Lions? What are options to replace it? Free agency and via trade. That's what we're going to kind of focus on here for this next part, because there's ways they could replace him, and there's many different solutions for that. And before I give you mine, name a pass rusher you want to sign. There's plenty out there. Name anyone. I think there's a player who I really like. I've talked about him multiple times, and that's Yannick Ngakoue. I think this would be a good situation if Kaminsky is out for a period of time. He still has pass rushing skills. Matter of fact, I think he's better than John Cominsky. It's not going to cost an arm and a leg to get Yannick Ngakoue, given the circumstances of the free agent market as of right now, right? It's the slim pickings right here. I think with him not being as long as a tooth that you would expect, multiple times he's been on teams, and he's produced, his last one being the Chicago Bears. If we're trying to get another rotational piece, he makes plenty of sense. One of John Cominsky's big part of the game is batting balls down with this big hand glove, and I think Yannick Ngakoue could absolutely help that as well. They could go Carl Lawson, right? They can make a big name in free agency, who obviously would be a significant upgrade, I think, from John Cominsky. May cost a little bit more, but the Detroit Lions right now has got $33 million in cap space. Their fifth best cap in the NFL, even after the Taylor Decker extension. So they could do that. It's going to cost a little bit of money, but you can do that. There's other folks out there, Frank Clark, or you could go Shaq Lawson, Melvin Ingram. At that point, I think you may want to transition if you're trying to upgrade. I would go probably Carl Lawson, Yannick Ngakoue, and kind of simmer it down right there, at least from the free agent standpoint. You can also look to trade. Hassan Reddick still having issues with the Jets. That could be a target the Lions could get. They traded for him, and he's wanting a contract extension. So that could be an option. You can go to the trade market to get a player. Or you can be responsible. And this is an interesting move I would suggest that the Detroit Lions would do here to get a good depth piece, is wait till other teams cut down to 53. There will be some players in the edge position that the Lions could get. It's just going to happen. There's going to be some sort of player cut. And just like how we got John Cominsky on a waiver wire, if you remember, the Lions could do a situation like that. It's not going to be too costly or expensive. It's going to be inexpensive because teams, they're doing their 53, and this is nearly the last chance for some of these folks to make a roster. So that's an interesting look to it, for sure. So we hope John Cominsky is good. We hope he's good to go. But when you can't stand on it, that's a problem. But again, good news here. Brian Branch returned to the practice field. And that's significant because he's such an integral piece to the Lions defense. So we lose one, we gain one. This is how training camp works. So initially for the first week, when it comes to injuries, we were sound. Now they're starting to trickle in. But at least with some of these injuries, it's more of a depth pieces instead of the actual piece. So question for you again. Do you believe the Detroit Lions will go ahead and sign another defensive end? Type 1 if you say yes. Type O if you believe no. Let's get into how the wide receiver battle is going on right now, and a player who I've been talking about is now starting to take advantage of the fourth team reps in this, Daurice Fountain. We're not hearing a lot from Donovan Peoples-Jones. Matter of fact, that's concerning to me. At this point, we're not hearing a lot from him. So I think that it's possible if Daurice Fountain produces here in the upcoming preseason game, he potentially could jump a Donovan Peoples-Jones. It is possible. So he is trending in the right direction in the wide receiver room. When it comes to Jameson Williams, he's trending in the absolute right direction. Another solid day for Jameson Williams. A lot of fans wanted the Lions to trade him away. A lot of fans were upset that he didn't get it last year. But boy, oh boy, he's getting it right now. He's faster, he's bigger, he's stronger, he's confident. He has taken on that number 2 receiver role to full extent. This is sound and solid news. Aqib Talib said the Detroit Lions will have a top cornerback tandem in Carlton Davis and Terrion Arnold. Aqib Talib, the veteran corner who's now an analyst, believes a lot in this team when it comes to the corner position. We had one of the worst tandems last year ever. They believe we have one of the best tandems now. That is good news. What do you think about that on the tandem from these analysts of Aqib Talib, giving the Lions a lot of credit right there? Right? That's a good one if you ask me. Again, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest Detroit Lions news and rumors. We're going to be up here soon. With that said, folks, adios.